Hello, everyone. We want to welcome you to our webinar today. We're excited to have Mark and Christine from ClickLearn joining us today. And before I pass it over to Mark and Christine, they're going to be presenting on From Zero to E-Learning in 1 hour on Business Central. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and type those into the questions box. We will get them answered during our Q&A time at the end of our session. And this webinar is being recorded, so if you want to watch it again, or if you want to share it with anyone, that will be posted to our on-demand webinar library for you to review and share with anyone. And so now I'm going to pass it over to Mark first to kick off our presentation.
Thank you very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Olesen. I will be introducing ClickLearn shortly. And it will just be very few slides, and then actually my colleague Christine will take over, and she will take us through a live demo on Business Central on how to use ClickLearn. If we look at who is ClickLearn and what is our mission, ClickLearn has 3 owners, and the reason it started was because they really got tired of documenting Microsoft Dynamics systems and then do classroom training. So they simply reinvented or rethinked the way to consume and produce learning materials, and it's simply to making partners and organizations more successful with the business platform investments. It is started back in 2010. We have today 60 employees, and it's spread it out. So we have an office in Copenhagen, Denmark. That's our headquarters. We have an office in Florida, United States, and in Ahmedabad, India. We are a Microsoft Gold partner and application development, have been since the beginning. We are a Gazelle Award winning company as well. That's the stock market in Denmark for some of the fastest growing company in Denmark. And we are also the 136th fastest growing company in Europe at the moment. If we look at where ClickLearn is used, ClickLearn is today used in 44 countries. We have 395 corporate customers, so Microsoft Dynamics customers using Business Central across the world. We also work with Microsoft partners, and Innovia is one of our favorites. So we have 137 different partners, and we have a strategic partnerships with Innovia as well. It's divided in, so 42% of it is in the Americas, and 58% of our customers are in the rest of the world, mainly US and Europe. From zero to e-learning in minutes. So what we're going to see today is we're going to see how to record and produce and publish ClickLearn learning material. So ClickLearn can work across applications. So we can take you actually from a sales order inside Outlook into Business Central, into an Excel sheet, and then finish that process and publish it in or produce it in 7 different learning formats in one single source. We're also gonna look at an on-screen live assistant today. So we will see how you can actually pop up an avatar inside Business Central, and he will take you through, or she, for the process that you want to into. We also do auto translations. So we have instructions and video narrations in more than 45 different languages, and you can pick between 140 different digital voices. We have some automated replay functions where we can recapture system upgrades. And we're also going to see learning polls and how we build in learning analytics to collect feedbacks and ratings from the end users. Who benefits from using ClickLearn? So depending on who you are, today we're going to talk about if you are a customer using Business Central or NAV, as they call it in the past. If you look at your IT and support, it's a question of reducing the amount of workload. Simply to have a successful e-learning and being user or having a user adoption, it's super important. And you can reduce your questions on support, but also reduce your own support load by making sure you have consistently high documentations across all your applications. Of course, it's also about employees. We all know how hard it is to onboard new employees, also how hard it is to onboard your current employees, when you're doing upgrades or changing or implementing new systems. And then if we look at from the management side of it, it's always a huge risk. There's always a huge risk in implementing larger ERP systems. And to reduce that risk, it's really, really important to have a measurable adoption and learning reduced implementation. So what I'm meaning is there is a risk, of course, but that risk will be minimized by making sure you're documenting the solution the right way to begin with. That was it from me. Christine, my colleague, will now take over and she will show us what I just talked about. Still feel free to write in questions and we will answer them during the session. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mark. Hopefully what you're looking at right now will be my screen showing my Business Central sandbox. And from here, I want to take a moment and start with the end in mind. And I want to bring your attention right here for this learning and onboarding section. You can see that we have the ClickLearn actions, and by activating the tile here on the dashboard, we open up our ClickLearn, and here he sits up on the ribbon. This is your learning portal that you will be creating. Here within the learning portal, you see we have a variety of icons, and everything you're looking at here on the screen is all customizable to whatever your instance of BC is that you want to create. I'm going to bring you down into one of these tiles. We refer to them as books. They're categories. Again, all of those are customizable. And then here's the steps. So if you have, as part of your business practice with creating materials and documentation, as long as you have your processes already set in place, whether it's a subject matter expert or a spreadsheet that you have your steps on, you'll be able to use that to click through your steps, create your documentation, and everything will be consistent from the look and feel of the template that you would choose. You could see the standard template that we have here is each one of the steps. We have closely cropped screenshots, and these steps will take your end user through whatever those work processes or work instructions are that you have created. See here, we have a web page, we have downloadable documents, we have videos, we have a live assistant that will work on top of your live BC system. So let's go ahead and jump right into how do we get there from here. I'm going to close down my learning portal and my assistant will stay right up here. So as an end user, he'll always be visible, ready for me to access, whether it's from here or I activate him. Any place you have created work instructions for, you will have your documentation right here within the ClickLearn Learning Portal. So with that said, let me go ahead and get started into our ClickLearn Studio. I have a variety of applications that I've already created documentation for, and you can see here that I have highlighted the Business Central. So anywhere you create your materials, you'll be able to have it automatically categorized within ClickLearn. It's as easy as coming here to start a new recording. Here you can see a variety of the connectors. This is ClickLearn's way of going in and capturing all of those step processes. We're very strong in Microsoft Dynamics. The highlighted icon is what we're going to be using, this connector. But you see we also have web applications, we have window applications, we also have for Office 365. So for our purposes, let's get started with our recording in Business Central. This is also a customizable screen that you're looking at to record the language. I'm going to select our US English, but there are a variety of instances. We have 45 different languages, 140 different voice dialects, male and female, and this is all part of the Voice Cloud. Microsoft Voice Cloud is where all of our different voices come from. So saying yes here, just a reminder one more time from ClickLearn that we're about ready to go ahead and do our recording. Just be patient and wait for that green rectangle. So let's get started. So now in just a moment, ClickLearn is taking a moment. It's looking through my screen and it's determining what are the different places And there you could see, so for the green rectangle here, and on that top right-hand corner, you can see the Business Central icon, letting me know that that's the connector I'm using. Because we are cross-platform, if I do want to come out onto the screen, now you can see I have the Windows app. So anything that's outside on my ribbon, I'd be able to click and capture those steps as well. For our demonstration here, we're going to stay within our Business Central. And as I click in that square, ClickLearn is now looking at all of these pieces. I'm going to create a new. Let's do our domestic. And here we can choose a name. And I just want to show you, I entered a name just to be able to show you the difference, and you'll see in a moment with capturing those details. So once I have entered my name, let's come here and just grab a couple more fields. And then I shut it down using the control keys on my keyboard. And now you'll be able to save your data, the source file, and you would pick a spot. You could either put it on your laptop, you could put it on a PC desktop, you could put it on a shared server. So if you have multiple authors or writers of your documentation to share together, you could put it on a OneDrive, you could put it on a SharePoint. So the options are there for you to be able to place in many different spots, accessible everywhere. So give your file a name. This name is what's going to be used when you create your materials and you put it out on your learning portal. So now that I have that file highlighted, I'm going to come up here and use the produce function. And when I select produce, I'm going to make sure I keep it in my US English. And now as I say OK, if you notice in this lower right-hand corner, we have a green progression ribbon, and ClickLearn is actually looking into this source file that we've just captured those steps, and it's now going to be returning back, and we're going to take a look at the 7 different learning formats that have been created simultaneously. So now with my producer finished, and my file highlighted, now we're going to come up and view our information. We're going to view it from the web page. So this should look similar to what we just saw at the very beginning. So this is our customizable template. If you prefer to have your screenshots on the left and your text on the right, everything that you see here is customizable. We even have a font if you have a particular font that you'd like to use. Notice here, anything that's in the dark bolded text, this is actually that area or element that we've clicked into. And our magnifying glass here is just simply if I want to pop out for those that might want to get a closer look of the screen or the section for that screenshot. So any of these steps, notice that they're in the bold. We have our field name that we've clicked in the field, but then we said to enter a name. So when we're creating these instructions, we don't necessarily need to have anybody enter the exact name that we did, but that's just to infer that you would be entering or typing a name of a new customer that you're creating this account with using these instructions. So we have captured a name field and email field. So all of this together, now we take a look at the downloadable documents. We have a PDF, a Word, and a PowerPoint. I'm going to open up the Word document first so that you can see all of these open in their native application. So Word opens up in a Word application, and we have additional metadata here. So if you have multiple authors or writers of documents that you would want to keep track of, perhaps you have versioning that you would want to keep an updated version, whatever metadata you would want to put in here, that's all customizable as well. The neatly cropped screenshot, your branding material, all of that is captured right here within our steps. The PDF is stylized the same as our web page, as our Word document. It opens in Adobe Acrobat. So let's take a look at the PowerPoint here. Now the PowerPoint is very powerful or good to use when you have in-classroom training, if you have a conference room with a lot of people in, or if you're even doing conference presentations. So from here, you can see ClickLearn has gone behind and they've actually captured the entire screen. So I have the whole picture now, as well as still having my narrative down across the bottom. And then I could click through my steps, have my conversation, do my in-classroom instructing. All of that has been captured right here. Notice there's no wonky lines. Everything is clean, crisp. So I can go through my presentation that way. From here, I do now have 3 videos. I have a show me, a try me, and a test me. I'm going to start the show me, and when I do, I'm going to take my hand off the mouse because ClickLearn will now take over and it will run the video automatically for me. I just need to sit back and watch the instructions.
Click on the navigation menu item Customers. Click on the navigation menu item New. Click on the link and cell description with the value.
So you notice I can put her on mute for a little bit. That's Miss Sally. She's one of about a half a dozen different dialects in the English US. You can also see how very clean the mouse moves. Where I was moving or circling around, the mouse has now been cleanly moved. I didn't have to open another video player to work or create anything, and it automatically put the voiceover that I had that is part of my preferences. So from here, I can also give an optional feedback. And we'll talk about where you could pick that information up from our cloud content on our Azure platform. So I've completed my show me video. I've watched it a couple of times. Now I want to try me. So using the try me video, now it doesn't start automatically, it actually becomes interactive. So it's not going to start until I click on the go button, and then when I do, we're going to see the steps that are now going to stop at each one of the processes.
Click on the navigation menu item Customers.
So we have our visual, we read our text, our narrative, but if I don't click in this one spot, I'm going to be stuck right here on this screen all day long. I can click anywhere else, so I want to follow the instructions.
Click on the navigation menu item New. Click on the link and cell description with the click on the field name.
So I can go through my steps. All I have to do is tap once on the keyboard, any key on the keyboard, to be able to enter a name, and it will pre-populate that information. My contact, my email, and again, I have the optional feedback. So we have the optional feedback for the show me and the try me. For the test me video, this now becomes an LMS SCORM compliant package. And again, it's going to start on the click.
Click on the navigation menu item Customers.
So I have my audio, I have my visual to read the narrative, but I no longer have that box. So I better have been paying attention, because if I wasn't, I can see why. Remember, they had us open here. I have 5 attempts. Do I want to drop the ClickLearn guy? I can't remember if it was under the sales order. Did I need to create something new? After that 5th click, I'm then presented with that red box so that I can continue through my example, through my steps. Here, keyboard, and I'm going to finish and my scoring comes up. So you see we have 5 points, 5 attempts. This is also customizable. So if your business only has 3 attempts, 3 points, or strike 1, strike 2, you can set this up any way you want. This is the SCORM compliant package. So if you do have a learning management system, that we can upload this information into your LMS. Otherwise, we do have, and we're going to take a look at our dashboard panel that you can review the information. And we have what we call an OData feed, that if you want to pull the information from our Azure platform, it'll go into an Excel.csv file that you can then open that information up to review the data in depth. So we have our videos, our downloads, we have our web page, but wait, there's more. Let me go ahead and close this down and open up our ClickLearn. So now with our file highlighted, we have some edit capabilities, and here on our edit ribbon, I'm going to open up, and you can see the steps that we have. Over here on the left are the actual little steps. That's our little footprint steps. And here we have the additional detail. Let me scoot that out of the way. So one of the things that I noticed is that, let's say we have a few months down the line that management has now said that they want to be able to start capturing this phone number field. Being that I have my application, you could come here right back into your screen, and I'm going to simply right click on my very last step because I want to place the new step right in where it belongs, and I'm going to say record this one new step. ClickLearn comes back into the application. I just wait a minute for that green flash. There's my phone number field. Click one time in the field, shut the recording down again, and ClickLearn automatically uses the template functionality and it puts it right where I want it. So I now have 3 fields all in the same spot. I also have an item that I'm looking at my phone number and I say, you know, if I do have any international calling that needs to be made for any businesses, I can add a note in here to highlight that to the end user and say, I do have a little Miss Sally that if I wanted to hear to make sure that I had the correct speech bubble, and then I also want to make sure that I have my placement to keep it with the previous step. And so once I make my changes here, I can say okay. And so my template knows that that's the step where I needed to add the note to. Now I want to go ahead and condense this down because I realize I've got these 3 steps, and if I'm going to be looking at it in a Word format or even on a web page, there's going to be some scrolling back and forth, right? So let's see if we can't make this a little bit more concise and tight. And holding the key, the control key on the keyboard, and I'm going to use the group functionality. And when I group them together, I'm going to keep the check for our numbered list for each step, but I also have an opportunity to edit the image a little bit. So if I want to be able to show a little bit more of the area from where they need to gather that contact name, phone number, and email, say okay here. And then one more time with my numbered list, you'll see right here in the background, just that quickly. I've updated, here's my steps, here's my note, my screenshot has been updated, I have my 1, 2, 3 steps, I'm good. I think I like the way that my name, I entered my information, everything else looks clean, ready to go. So I'm going to close my recording down. And with that file highlighted, I'm going to produce it one more time in our US English. So that progression ribbon down in the right-hand corner, it's now looking back into that source file where I've made my updates, and it's now pushing all of those updates through all of the learning formats that we've just got done creating. So just that fast, I haven't had to go and open up a Word document or a video player. I haven't had to do anything but work right there in that one source file. And here you can see all my updates are now identified. So we've done that. We've edited our recording. We do also have the capability to do. You saw the different voice packages, so we can replay our recording to record in different languages as well. So for all of the different languages we have, you can run that recorder through our replay functionality, and with a few short steps of updating your screens within your Business Central, you can go ahead and make those recordings as well. But for the one, let's continue along with the one recording that we have. Now that we have created it, you would do that process again for all of the work instructions. So your best practices that you've got your text already created, you know what your steps are. So you're going to be working and creating the documents. Now we need to get them into that format that'll put it out onto our learning portal. So the next step from here, let me just scroll down a little bit without blurring everybody's eyes, but here you can see I have a variety of books. So the next step is going to be for you to create a new book. And once you do that, I'm just going to show you, I'd created one earlier. You would give your book a name that would be specific to however you would want to categorize your work instructions. So if you have a sales team, if you have purchasing, if you've got inventory, accounts payable, think along those lines how you would want to be. If you have a getting started, that you would have some information that is exclusive to getting started within your system. So that's going to be something you'll make as an internal decision how you want to have them all categorized. So what happens here when you create the book, we now have a book structure, and you see these few recordings that I have. I'm able to drag and drop them from all of my available recordings. So whatever I have created here, I can simply come and grab my recordings and insert them or drag and drop them. I can bring them back and forth here. I can sort and order them if I want to do, if I have a getting started that I would want to be present at the very top of my list of recordings. However you want them to be presented or whatever the prerequisite is, you have that capability to do that right here within creating your book setup. And at any time, if you have produced it and published it and you decide that you want to make an update again, you'll have that book available right here within your ClickLearn Studio. You could always open it up, resort it. You could always open it up to add new recordings as you create your new recordings. All of that is available right here. So I can, I'll say yes. So I would come here and I would produce my book. Then the same process applies for my recording to add my books onto my shelf or my learning portal. So the same process would apply. I have a new shelf that I would create. I would give my shelf a name, and that is actually going to be the name of your learning portal. So however you would want to identify it, you see I have a variety of them here. I have a Business Central learning portal myself, and then any of the books. So of course my books will now contain all of the recordings that I've placed there, and then I simply do the same process. I could just grab and drag and drop back and forth, or sort and organize. If I don't want this one here, I could pull my purchasing out. So however I would want to create and sort it and set it up, I could do that too. So now with my shelf or learning portal highlighted, I would come up and I would produce it, I would publish it, and then by publishing it, that's what's going to give me the link that I would then place that link inside my Learning Studio. I'm sorry, my Business Central. So let me come back out here to the home page. So then you would work with our customer care team. We would place that link for you, and then once you launched your link, that's what's going to make it accessible for your end users to be able to access your information. So from here, with Inside Help, we also integrate with the Microsoft's Inside Help within your Business Central. So where Microsoft offers things like definitions for certain fields or sections, that would be integrated with your learning portal that you're creating as well. So for this particular learning portal, you will always have a search field to be able to search for a particular document by name or a small phrase. And then I'm going to bring your attention way down here to the bottom for the content. So when I pop this content up, I can see at a glance under every one of my books what the work instructions are, where they are located. If I'm working in a remote area that has limited or sketchy Wi-Fi, I can download the full portal, and this is downloadable into a PDF format. So you can take and put this on a handheld device, on a laptop, something portable, so you'd be able to stand in that area with the limited Wi-Fi, but still be able to have access to your learning instructions. So from here, I have my onboarding. I'm going to take a look now at my new customer in BC. One of the other things that there is a check mark in a particular field for building what we call building a repository, and building the repository is actually what's going to create your live assistant. So where we were looking at the show me video, that was in a sandbox environment. It was very safe. You don't have to support another training area, training portal. Here, we are now in your live instance. So if you have an end user from day one that you want them to be productive, they'll be able to come here, launch your learning portal, click right here on your Learning Assistant. Now the Learning Assistant is actually working on top of my live Business Central instance, and it's telling me what the instructions are for creating a new customer in Business Central. So I follow along, and I now click where the red rectangle is, and my avatar, my icon is also customizable. This could be male, female. I've seen robots, so be creative with that. So when I click for my customer, I'm actually interacting with my live system, telling me to click on my new. Now I'm going to be creating a domestic customer. So here is now where I can start actually entering a name. So when I can say, this would be from a spreadsheet, or if there's an email inbox, something that your end user has been given this information so that they could go ahead and start creating these new customers for you live in your environment. So from here, it says to enter a name. I've entered my name. I also have a preview. So when I click on the back button here, now that takes me out. So I followed my instructions from beginning to end. If I need to review it again, the Live Assistant will always be there. So again, for whatever your work instructions are that you've created for your business processes, here is all the materials, concise and in one location for you to be able to access right here within your system. One more other thing that I just want to point out, let's talk a minute. I mentioned about our ClickLearn portal. We have a content cloud spot. It's supported on our Azure platform. Just log in here. So you have access to this information. We have a listing of any upcoming webinars. So should you take a trial license, you could sign up for any of these classes. We also have e-learning that is on demand 24/7. It's part of our video library that you could also look how to publish ClickLearn content, how to create a learning portal. We have a variety of topics here. But most important, we have our dashboard that captures all of your information. So we have a couple of heat maps here across the top that we can drill down. Of course, it's at a very high level, and it is tracking. I have several learning portals that I'm tracking. So this is showing me, based on the learning portals that I'm tracking, where my end users are located, the countries that are highlighted. Over here for my books, based on these learning portals, these are the books that are trending that people are accessing. And then these tiles that you see across the center, this is actually pointing to the Word documents that have been looked at, the PowerPoint documents that have been looked at, any PDF that has been opened. And then we have the Show Me video, the Try Me video, the Test Me video. So these are the numbers that lets you know how many learners, how many end users have access to this information. And this is where you could make the request to have the OData feed data pulled out on that Excel spreadsheet for you to be able to review that information as well. If you have an LMS system, you could work with our support team and they will be able to provide those SCORM packages to be uploaded to your LMS as well. And then if there is any overall ratings that had been selected or any comments that were left in those optional feedback panels, that information can all be collected from here as well. That is everything that I have to show and tell and talk about. Angie, I'll turn it back over to you. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Christine. Yes, we do have a few questions that came through. Does it keep track of the updated version? So every revised document has a different version number?
Now that might be part of the metadata. I don't know if you would need to have that updated. There would be a date on the bottom, like the Word document. But for you to be able to go through the versioning, if you have any documents that you would want to update, you can take and highlight whatever document that you've already created, and you could go through a file convert process. And from here, I'll just use the Microsoft Nav. From here, you would be able to choose where the recording, to include recordings, different spots here, and then you can choose to convert it this way. And then Oh, we already have that in the, okay. So I do already have that. I had already created it in an earlier class, in an earlier session, but you would then take that recording. So once I've selected to convert it and use that replay function, open up my Business Central, it will walk through the steps. So you are essentially updating your version, and then it will automatically push it out through your book onto your learning portal. So in real time, for as quickly as you update and convert your recording to whatever latest version, if there was a custom field that was added, ClickLearn will go through those steps, pick up that step, push it out to your portal.
Okay, thank you. And what is the fee? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, it was just to comment on what Christine is saying. So any recordings, as you see them here in the ClickLearn Studio, it's simply going in, pressing the replay and tell what version you want to convert from and to, and then that recording with all the steps and processes you have will be updated with screen captures and everything in the new version. So when Microsoft release something, you can simply just use the replay and update all your recordings.
Okay, thank you. And another question that came through is, what's the fee pricing for this service?
Mark, over to you.
So regard to prices, it depends. So we have various editions. It just said my mic was muted. But we have various editions. So depending on what you are, we have a corporate edition for one legal entity. We have enterprise edition for multiple legal entities or subsidiaries, and we have partner license. But it starts from $5,000 up to around $25,000 to $30,000. But again, it's a combination of what connectors do you need. So today we are talking Business Central. We also support other applications as mentioned. So maybe you have an Office package, maybe you want to have Microsoft Teams included, maybe you want to have I don't know, a CRM application or Power Apps or anything like that. And then the price increase because you're buying it per connector, as we call it. But everything from $5,000 to $25,000.
Okay. And along with that, is there an ongoing monthly fee?
It's a perpetual license that you buy and then you own it, and then we have 20% maintenance on top. 20% maintenance is including everything. So free support, free onboarding, free training, free educations. We are not a consultancy business, and everything is included in your maintenance.
That's annually.
And it's annually. Thank you, Christine.
Okay, thank you. And will someone outside my company have access to my recordings? And is there a risk, like exposed to sensitive information?
So the way it works is when you buy a product, and that's the reason why we have different price ranges. It's your distribution rights. When you are a corporate customer, it's only your employee in your organization that has access to your documentations. Christine mentioned learning portals is all hosted on Microsoft Azure. You can also have them hosted yourself, so we don't care where you save them and store them. If you do it through us, it will be on Microsoft Azure services. And yeah, I think they're one of the most securities one in the world. But it's only your employees who can access it, and it requires a login, and we can also control each user's what they're allowed to see. So if you have an HR department and a field service department, we can make sure that the field service department only is seeing what's available for them, and the same with the HR department.
Okay, thank you. And can you tell me what the difference between on-prem and cloud product installation, etc. is?
So for ClickLearn, there is no difference. We support everything from an old school NAV Microsoft installations on-prem up to the latest version that they just released in October in the cloud. It's simply just having ClickLearn Studio installed on the device you want to do the processes on, and ClickLearn will then work on any of the Microsoft Dynamics application, no matter if they are in the cloud or located on premise.
All right, thank you, Mark and Christine. If anyone has any additional questions that you would like to have them address, please feel free to type them into the questions box and we'll get those answered. And yes, we will have this recording available on our website and on YouTube, and we do post these recordings after the webinar is completed on social media. So our LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter accounts will have a link to the recordings as well periodically on those social media sites. I just want to thank everyone for attending, and thank you, Mark and Christine, for presenting today. And if you're watching on demand, thank you for joining us. And I do want to let you know that we have a few more webinars coming soon. Next week, on February 11th, we have ADP presenting on the flexibility of technology with an integrated HCM solution. And on February 12th, we have Pat from Inovia Consulting presenting on full licensing versus limited licensing users in Business Central. So check out our website for more of our upcoming events, and that's inovia.com/events. And Inovia has a podcast going on. If you have not heard of it already, it's called the Inovia Conversation. We want to encourage you to listen to our selection that Steve and Jeff have provided to us over the last year. They do about 2 episodes a month, and you can find out about all the different podcast platforms to listen to on our podcast page, and that's inovia.com/podcast. So check out the podcast selection and subscribe so you'll be notified when those new episodes air. And Inovia will be having our customer conference. We have it once a year, and this year it is coming up on May 20th and 21st here in South Bend, Indiana at Notre Dame. Contact your rep or visit our conference page where we have all of the details for our conference, and that's inovia.com/conferences. This is a free event to attend, and we would love to have you. So register now so you don't miss out on this great event.
I just want to quickly comment as well. Of course, ClickLearn is available on trial licenses for free. So if anybody wants to get in touch with us and get their hands a little dirty and try it out themselves, of course, feel free to reach out to us. And we will be happy to set you up with a trial license. And we will also be happy to do free trial trainings and onboarding you into how to learn ClickLearn or how to use ClickLearn, so you get experience with it before making a decision of buying the product.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.